Remy, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us at Fox Sports. And you are obviously back in MotoGP this weekend. And we know Silverstone is a track that holds fond memories for you, especially from that Moto2 win back in 2021. How are you feeling coming into this weekend?
Yeah, it's a track that I've always liked. Actually, before that win in Silverstone in 21, it was actually the first track I ever made it to Parc Ferme when I was racing Moto2. So yeah, it's a special place in my heart here. I actually put the Mistral on the front row in the dry, nearly out qualified Bagnaia on the Mistral here. So I was pretty impressed with my performance. So yeah, it's a track that holds special memories. I actually was having a decent race with the GP bike in 22 here as well. But we made the wrong tire choice. Unfortunately, dropped like a stone towards the end. But yeah, it's a track I enjoy and hopefully can suit the Yamaha.
Is that a real thing when you go back to a track where you've had some success in World Championship? Like when you walk through, you drive in through through the gates. Is that a real thing where you go, oh yeah, like there's a good memory when I've left this place, or is it just on to the next the whole time? Do you like look back at that sort of stuff?
Not in that depth to be honest, but I
Mm.
think it's almost just kind of like yeah, great. I've had success here. Hopefully it should be an easier weekend than normal. That's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to ask, you've obviously come from World Superbikes that you're currently competing in over into MotoGP. You did the last round at Saxon Ring with the Monster Energy team, and now you're on the test team bike for Cal Crutchlow. Mentally, how difficult or challenging is it to go from the Superbike over into MotoGP?
Yeah, I mean the superbike is completely different. I mean it's compared to the GP bike, so it's like starting from zero. Yeah, tires are completely different. There's less power, a little bit heavier, I think, but not that much. But yeah, just different riding style, completely different riding style, and obviously there's a lot more things to manage on a GP bike. You have the ride height controls, you have the start devices, you have carbon brakes that need to stay in temperature. The tires are more critical to temperature, so everything's more stiff. There's a lot more to manage with the GP bike. So yeah, honestly, it's kind of like starting from zero. Maybe a bit less starting from zero this time now that we got Saxon Ring under our belt. But yeah, Saxon Ring definitely got thrown in the deep end.
Well, and a weird one too with Saxon Ring because, well, if I understand correctly, you were out doing some motocross or something with Tito Rabat when you got the call or thereabouts. But Saxon Ring's not your standard circuit to come back and ride a MotoGP bike when you haven't ridden one for the best part of 2 years because there's nowhere quite like the Saxon Ring. It's pretty much a one of one. So how deep into that weekend were you in Germany before you felt, all right, I'm actually on top of this, or did you never quite get to that point?
Yeah, yeah. So I was out. Yeah, it was just. I think I was riding motocross with Tito, and we were having lunch down in Yibia, next to Andorra in Spain. And watching the GP. I watched the GP. I didn't even think anything of it, and got back home, was watching the bike, and had about 25 missed calls, and that was Parko, the manager, and pick up the phone, you idiot. And he's like, "You want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not? I think it should be fun." So yeah, definitely didn't expect it, but I think it handled it pretty okay in the end. I think we had a decent performance, and yeah, it's I'm glad I did it. Here I am again, back again. So yeah, they can't be too happy with me.
Exactly. You're back again this weekend, but like I mentioned, you are filling in for injured Cal Crutchlow on the test team. With
Yeah.
this weekend and the plan that you've got going ahead, how much of this weekend is testing parts and products for the factory riders?
I know I'll have to be doing a little bit of testing this weekend. I don't exactly know what the plan is yet because I actually haven't had time to sit down with the guys yet. I've been flat out this morning. But yeah, I know they already said to me that yeah, okay, we are the test team, so we do have items to test. But for sure, my mentality is, I'm still here. I'm a racer. I'm here to, race and do the best of course, and do the best possible. So yeah, there's for sure it's not going to be easy to balance that race weekend test strategy, but hopefully, the guys can understand, the racing mentality as well.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you actually, it had been what, 18 months near enough since you'd ridden a MotoGP bike, since what, Valencia 22 until you get back on the bike at Sachsenring. How much had the game moved on in those 18 months? Because obviously you parked that thing at Valencia at the end of 22. You're probably not expecting to get back on a MotoGP bike. So when you do get back on one, were there things where you're going, oh, this has really taken a step from what I was used to? Were there some things you really noticed had moved on?
Honestly, I didn't feel like it was night and day for me. I mean, it kind of just felt like a GP bike again. Definitely different than the KTM, for better or worse in that respect. But yeah, definitely felt like a GP bike. And what surprised me, to be honest, was the amount of fast guys now. I mean there was many fast guys back when I was in 22, but it's if if you're not absolutely pushing to the limit, you're just going to be dead last, aren't you? Like there's so many fast guys that you just have to be so on it to even do some sort of result. So yeah, everyone's extremely fast. The manufacturers, there's a lot of fast manufacturers now, and yeah, it's incredible how far the bikes have come. But I didn't feel like it was night and day speed wise, let's say. I think it's just kind of the level of everyone was, yeah, pretty impressive more than anything. Didn't surprise me because I know, but just impressive.
This weekend at Silverstone is the 75th anniversary, the celebration. It's the vintage round, the retro round. At the time of recording this, we haven't seen any announcement of the liveries that we're going to see. So can you give us a little sneak peek to what's happening on your bike this weekend?
Not sure if I'm getting looks right now. I'm getting looks right now. I don't think I can say anything, but I'd love to. I would love to, but I'm getting some pretty mean stare downs right now from the other side of the computer.
But what's interesting though,
I feel, hey.
You want to make sure that you get another call up, Remy C, but we better keep you on your best behavior. But just as a general concept, it really feels like this has resonated with the whole paddock. Like everyone's got up for this. It's just one of those things that's come up at a particular time of year. And it feels like once one or two people or manufacturers committed, everyone's like, oh, we've got to do this too. And I guess the cool thing about this sport, and obviously you know it from a fan and being in a family and racing yourself, is there's so much history and we're always moving on to the next season and the next thing. It's such a great thing for the sport to look back and celebrate its past because there's so many color schemes and styles and the way the racing looks now. I think that's the most exciting thing for all you guys to see what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I think I mean, when I heard it was happening, I was over the moon, and that I could be joining this race to do it. So yeah, I've designed a special helmet as well from a past rider as well. I will say this is a Yamaha past rider. There you go. I'll give you that.
No dirty looks when you say that.
No, I'll give you that. But and yeah, the leathers are awesome. I mean, boots, everything just looks amazing. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I think yeah, hopefully that all the teams are kind of on board with it because I think it's a really cool idea, really cool concept, and I love the classic stuff. I mean, I just told you before about all my classic cars, so I don't actually have any new cars at the moment. So yeah, I'm the old school. I like old school stuff, so it's quite cool for me, and that I can be joining in at this race when it's happening as well.
We were talking off camera earlier and we were saying, it'd be cool if you had the sideburns. Is that what you called them, Matt? The big sideburns?
The choppers? The big choppers?
Choppers, yeah.
And the mullet.
Yeah, I mean, in Misano, if you go and check photos from Misano this year, just the best mullet, honestly. I was so proud of my mullet. It was sick. It was so long and fluffy in the air. It was amazing. But yeah, the hairdresser cut a bit too much off it, unfortunately. So yeah, it needs to grow back. But my hair grows fast, so I think by the end of the year I should have a decent mullet again. The only thing, I got a wedding from like a very close family member, and I've been told that if I turn up with a mullet, I'll be basically kicked out. So
No, that's what we got Photoshop for, Remy. You'll be fine, mate. Just let it fly. But we were sort of talking about the retro side of things and sort of linking it back to where you are now. I'd be curious as to how you feel sort of the MotoGP paddock and the series feels and working in that environment compared to what you used to now in the day job at World Superbikes. Like, is there a significant difference between the two? I mean, we know Superbikes is generally a little bit more relaxed and probably less uptight than MotoGP is, but did you notice a difference between the two? And I guess as an ancillary question to that, there's a lot of talk that Jack Miller may be ending up racing with you a little bit more than he has this year in the short-term future. So if Jack ends up in that Superbike paddock, is that something that you could see him enjoying? Because he strikes me as a guy who likes the racing more than the sideshow a lot of the time. It might be right up his alley.
Yeah, I mean, the actual technical side and the sporting side is exactly the same, you know, inside the box. You know, in the end, you're there to do a job. You know, you're still a professional rider, and it's something you have to take serious. I mean, if you don't, the level's so high now in superbikes. I mean, the top 10 are so fast now. You know, just if you're not on top of your game, you're not taking it completely serious. You know, you're going to be nowhere. So from the sporting side of things, you have to be completely on it all the time, and you have to be a professional rider, and from Friday until Sunday, give it your all. Otherwise, like I said, you can be nowhere. Let's say the media side and things like that, yeah, definitely more chill, but for sure we still have some, you know, media obligations, which is all okay, and I think it's all part of the job. I think at this point in our careers, if we don't know how to manage that, you know, that we shouldn't be here. So but yeah, I think yeah, I'm not sure what's true or not about that. I haven't spoken to Jack, but yeah, I'm sure he'd enjoy the bike. To actually ride the bike, it's actually quite fun. The Pirellis are really forgiving, and the Superbike, you know, moves around a lot more, and it's actually really enjoyable to ride and race as well. I mean, it's probably a bit easier to pass riders and have some nice battles on track. So as a racer, it's definitely a fun time on track. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wish, you know, the best of luck to Jack and searching for something for next year.
While we're on that, I mean, the rider market stuff, you would have been watching that from afar this year. It was completely bonkers for about 3 weeks there. Like every time you look at your phone, someone had changed teams or something was going on. It was completely mad. And obviously Jack got sort of caught out in the shuffle with all of that, with all the moving pieces. You've been in that KTM situation before where, you know, things that you thought were going to happen perhaps didn't. Do you perhaps sympathize a little bit with Jack's situation? Because 1 minute he was on a factory KTM, the next minute he was in line for a Tech 3 bike, and now he's still looking for a job 2 months later. I mean, you went through your own issues with that side of things with KTM. Did you sort of see any similarities there or feel any sympathy for him?
I mean, after everything, after the years, you know, after, let's say, the trend of what happens in KTM, I mean, you can't say it's, you know, surprising at all. But yeah, I mean, I think for him as well, I think I wouldn't be completely surprised, you know, after, you know, seeing a trend over 5 years of everything that's happened. So yeah, I mean, in the end, what can I say? He was in a factory team. I didn't even make it that far. So he's done one better than me already. And yeah, I mean, he's had a great run already in MotoGP. He's been around for 10 years or something, like 9 years or something like that. So yeah, he's had a great run. He's done an amazing career, had great results, and yeah, I think he can be proud of it if it does come to an end. But I'm not sure. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not even in this paddock usually, so honestly, I don't even look at the news anymore. I'm off riding motorbikes, enduro or trials or whatever. I don't even care.
Well, let's bring it back to you then. Let's go back to World Superbikes, currently sitting P7 in the championship. How do you feel the championship's been so far?
Yeah, I think having a good year. We're kind of fighting for that top 5. We got Locker just in that top 5. Unfortunately, had a lot of bad luck in Australia in the first race, and yeah, we only scored a small handful of points, unfortunately, and I think we had the potential to, you know, probably fight for the podium. So yeah, it was unfortunate there that we had a bit of a problem in Montmello in the first race as well, and lost another bunch of points. But yeah, we've been hanging in there. We've been, clawing back, and I think we started the championship in 2012, 13, something like that. So yeah, we've been clawing back, and yeah, we managed to close the gap again in Moss, and basically our eyes are set on that top 5 position in the championship. It's not going to be easy for sure, but hopefully we can keep it consistent and put in a good end to the year.
Oh man, if only you could just go the hard reset button on Australia. I mean, you take that one out of the equation and the rest of it's been pretty much where you would want to be, I would say. But while we're talking about your current day job as opposed to your sort of deputising day job this weekend, I can't not ask you the top rack question, because we've seen what he's doing at the moment. He's on a massive roll, and some of the margins of victory have been absolutely crazy. There's been so much discussion on, would he go to MotoGP? Who would he go with? How well would he go there? You've raced against the guy now for a couple of years, and you also know what a MotoGP rider looks like because you were one and you are racing with them at the moment. Is he of a quality that he could do well in that series? And do you think it's going to happen, or is it going to be something else that needs to happen to get him to go over? Because the talent's pretty undeniable from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, I think for next year, I don't think so, because I think maybe, I don't even know, but I've been told that BM came out and said, no, he's going to stay with us one more. I think even himself, he said that. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I've been told that, so don't take that my word on it. As a rider, as a style right now, that style in superbikes, sorry, in MotoGP wouldn't work, let's say. But I mean, obviously, look at the guy's talent. He's very talented, and I'm sure he can adapt, and I think he'll be a fast rider on a GP bike. I think, yeah, for sure, it's maybe not going to be overnight, but yeah, bit of testing and a bit of experience and adaptation. I'm sure he could go pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, look what he's done on a superbike. The guy obviously knows how to ride a motorcycle. So yeah, I mean, at the moment he's working with the BMW. It's working well. He's got the horsepower now that he always wanted. So yeah, it's definitely working. So at the moment, I'm actually beating his lap times and things like that he was setting on the Yamaha. So I'm actually going faster than that. So yeah.
Very good.
I'm still here. But yeah, unfortunately, everyone in superbikes has made a step, and it doesn't seem like that anymore. Like we're actually that fast. Because obviously the other manufacturers have made a big step this year, and they're on it. So yeah, at the moment we're in our kind of own little race, but yeah, we're trying to do our best with what we got.
Remy, I wanted to ask you, with these couple of fill-in rides that you've done with Yamaha and MotoGP, do you think it is kind of an audition process for you to come back, or could we possibly see you back in MotoGP as a full-time rider in the future?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't had any. Nothing's been said to me, so if you know more than me, but at the moment it's just, I think, a fill-in ride to get a bit more data and a bit more, yeah, and maybe different comment from a different rider on the bike to try and move forward with maybe the bike and the project, which is ultimately I think what Yamaha need right now. And yeah, I mean, you never know, in the future there could be opportunities. I mean, I'm still young, I'm still 26, and yeah, I'm still fast, it looks like. So yeah, hopefully yeah, you never know, in the future we'll see, but at the moment there's nothing on the table.
Yeah, oh, well, we're so excited to have you back in the paddock on the grid again this weekend. It's so cool for us Aussies having two Aussies that we can support. We know all of Australia is behind you. Best of luck this weekend. We can't wait to see that unveiling of your retro livery and also see you out on track.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.